Cool. Should we talk about event broadcasting?
Go for it.
Awesome. My coworkers joked that they needed a way to tell what my stress level was, if they should bother me with something. Like, you know, should we bother Eric? Like he looks pretty stressed right now. And I wanted to play with the new event broadcasting in Laravel 5.1. And what event broadcasting is, if you don't know, is you can fire an event when anything happens in your application. And in 5.1, there's this really easy way to just throw a couple lines in your event class that encapsulates your event, and have that event be broadcast through one of several services. Now, even some third-party code has been written to connect it to different services. We're going to be using Pusher, which is it's a paid service, but there's a low-level one where I think you can get like 10 connections at once before you start having to pay for that service. And there, like the JavaScript you throw on there on your page connects with a WebSocket to Pusher, and then behind the scenes you're pushing events to Pusher, and they're going automatically to the client browser, and then your JavaScript code can react to those events. So I wanted to play with that, so I built this thing. It's the developer stress dashboard, and it does it like the Homeland Security severe, high, elevated, guarded, and low statuses. So I thought the way we do this is we would start with just these templates. They don't do anything. They're just Bootstrap, HTML templates. And I've got 2 pages here. I've got set stress level buttons. This would be like kind of a behind the scenes, maybe password protected kind of thing. And I've got the dashboard here, and my coworkers could just leave this page open. And then using event broadcasting, anytime my stress level changes, I could just go hit a button, and then it would automatically change on the page when, even if they still have the page open without any refresh or anything like that. So I set up a couple of really simple routes. Of course, if you were doing this in bigger project, you'd use controllers and all that kind of stuff, but we don't really need to do all that for this because we just truly have like a root route and a set route. And we're gonna have one more to set the actual stress level. And that's gonna be it. And that's where we are right now. We have these 2 routes, we have a couple of templates and some CSS, and we have this one line of JavaScript that on page load for the dashboard page, the status page, it does set level and then the level that comes in through the route. So right now we're just setting the route to high, just hard coding it in there, and then the status page is using that that level that we're passing through to mark the right button on this page as that one. So if we went to routes and set it to severe, and we refresh that page, we would have it be severe. So that's where we are. So the first thing we're going to do is create a database migration, and the way the new 5.1 or 5.0, I guess, way of doing doing models, creating models and migrations all at once is to do make :model on Artisan, and then the name of your model, and then you can do a -m, and it'll create a migration at the exact same time. So under database and migrations, I'm going to open that migration. It already comes with an ID and timestamps, so I'm going to throw in a string, like a varchar for level. That's just going to be a text level or a text string for what the stress level is. And I'm just going to run PHP artisan migrate, and that hopefully will work, and it does. I already set up the database. I created a database and I set up the credentials for it. So now in our database, we have a migrations table and a status logs table. There's nothing in the status logs table, but it does have our level field there. And the only other thing we need to do is set up the model so that we can fill in the level field there. So fillable on the model, if you don't know, is an array of strings for the column names that you want to be able to update with your code when you do like an update model update, and then that field equals some value. You can do that now with the level field because we put it in the fillable array. We need a new route so that we can run a, so we can set the level into the database. So we're going to start here. We'll just import that app status log model there. And we're going to do like the bare minimum little validation here for if it's in one of, if it's one of these statuses, keep going. If not, just return false. And then if we got here, then we're going to create a new status log entry with that level there from the route here. So like set/severe would set it and create a status log entry in the database. And we need a little bit of JavaScript here. I've already set up some Laravel's Elixir to run and compile the JavaScript into one big JavaScript file with like jQuery and my own JavaScript and all of that. So this is a really simple little jQuery deal to do whenever one of the status buttons on this page is clicked, prevent the default, and run a get for /set on that level from the button. And I'll run gulp, and then the JavaScript should be in here. If gulp runs, go.
There it goes.
So on set, now I refresh, and we should be able to hit that. And you saw it like on the developer bar down here, it said that it called the guarded route. And now if we go to our database, we should see guarded in there. So we've got our database table working correctly, and this page is done. Like we are completely done with this page now. The buttons set the stress level. That's all we did. However, this page is still like let's call guarded there, and we can see oh, we did guarded already. Sorry, so we did 2 guarded, but this is still set to severe. If I refresh, it's set to severe because in our route we're just hard coding severe in there. So now we got to get the stress level back out. So I'll replace the contents of my route here, and we'll talk about what it does real quick. So all it's doing is getting a status from the status log. It's getting the most recent one, so order by created at sort descending and get the first one that comes back. If we don't have a status, redirect to /set, otherwise the page will fail. We don't have a status. And then instead of hard coding in the status, we're going to do the status level from that status that came back. And now, if we refresh this, we should get guarded, right? That's the one we did. So that works. And if we go here and do like hi and refresh, that's hi. So our app works at this point, and now all we have to do is make it do the event broadcasting so that it happens while the page is still there without a refresh. So Composer takes a long time, so let me go ahead and run this command. Hopefully it won't take very long. Okay, let's see the bottom of my screen here. Sorry about that. on our set route, we need to broadcast a new event. So we have this set route down here, and once again, you really can't see me. Sorry, I really thought you guys could see it. You couldn't see this at all before? Is it coming back?
It will. There you go.
You know you're looking.
It really can. What do you tell me when it comes down?
Trying to make water boil.
You got tired of me talking right before we got to event broadcast.
So close.
It's coming back.
Maybe. Almost.
So we check the connections. Is it on? It's that Asus. If it was a Mac, it would be working. There we go.
Okay, I'm gonna not look at it. Tell me if it goes away.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we did our log thing. So I'm gonna replace this where we're creating the status log model entry into the database. I'm gonna replace that with an if statement around it, and we're gonna broadcast a new event.
That one just wasn't working.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're gonna broadcast a new event called status level updated. Past tense, and we're gonna do a PHP artisan make event. And we don't even need an event handler for this. We're not even gonna handle our event. We're just gonna create an event called status level updated. We'll open the event model or the event class there. And okay, we have to do a couple of things to this event class. We have to implement should broadcast. It was already included, actually, the namespace class up here was already included, should broadcast. It already actually had broadcast on down here. And all we need to do there is we're gonna return Meetup status as the array, because you can broadcast on different channels all through your app, all through Pusher, and then on which page determines like what it's going to listen for, and then your code can say, well, I'm going to listen for this channel. Maybe it's the user, where like that user's ID or something like that. So it's all about like that user, all the events for them. And we need to take in a status log here. And then finally, we have to make this log a public property on this event class. Otherwise, this serializes models line won't be able to, it won't find if it's private, the log, and pass it along to Pusher. So it needs to be public, because serialized models takes all your public properties on the class and serializes just them instead of serializing like everything in the class, because models get huge in Laravel if you try to serialize them. They just get incredibly big. And so serializes models is pretty cool, because when I started with Laravel, it didn't have that, and I tried to serialize models and overflow database tables and all kinds of stuff. Okay. Okay, so broadcasting.php is in the config file, but it's already set up for Pusher out of the box. You would have to change it if you want to do a log one or a Redis. To set up your own Redis, I've been wanting to play with that just because it would save some money if you could do that instead of using Pusher. But man, it seems a little complex with like all of the running a node.js server or whatever to do socket.io on your own on the Redis, go in the Redis route. So Pusher's already set up. It's already got the connection set up for to run the key and app ID and secret out of your .env file. So let's go ahead and get the .env up here. And I'm just going to paste my stuff from here into there. And then the only other thing we need to do is throw the JavaScript into our page, the status page, the public page, dashboard page. So let's talk about that real quick. It's got, you still can't see that, can you? Oh, up there. So I threw this in. Right here is the pusher, hosted by pusher, their CDN, the JavaScript, and then we're going to configure pusher. Here's our meetup status that we put in, which channel to subscribe to, and then we're going to do a bind for app events status level updated. That's the full namespace path for my event class. And once I get one of those, I get data back. I get the data. The data is the status level updated class. The log is that public property that I put on there, my status log that comes in through the constructor of the event class and gets saved in that public property on the event class. That's log. And then level is the column name on my database table. That's how easy all of this is. I'm just throwing my status log model into the event, and then I'm reading it from the JavaScript. And that should be all you need. If we refresh this, and we put this up here, there you go.
Awesome.
It is not real time. If you saw the video that Taylor did for Laracasts about this when 5.1 was coming out, he showed side-by-side comparisons of Pusher versus Redis, and the Redis one was so much faster. So, I mean, for truly real-time stuff, maybe you want to go with, or more real. Not that any web stuff is real-time, but for more real-time, Redis may be the way to go. Pusher for stuff that it's a lot easier to do, and maybe it doesn't matter if it's a second or two late in getting there. But we're good to go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about before I answer questions. But to reiterate, the key parts of this were in my routes. When I saved the status log entry, created the status log entry, if that save was successful, we got a log, we got a status log back. Then I did an event, and I newed up a status level updated instance of the event class, and passed it that log entry, that model entry into the constructor, and then the other key stuff there was implementing should broadcast up here, having my log accepted through the constructor and available as a public property on the event class, and setting my broadcast on to the same thing that I set it to subscribe to in the public, the JavaScript part from Pusher. And Pusher gave me most of that code themselves. Like when you go to Pusher and you log in, like they've got your access tokens and app ID, but they also have like a server-side PHP. How do we get it where you guys can actually see what I'm doing? There's the server-side PHP code that they did, or I guess that's not even, you want the client side anyway. So there's the client side, and there was the channel that you subscribe to and what to do. But they just have it like alert data.message. We had it run our JavaScript function to set the right status level. Any questions?
So what methods does the should broadcast interface implement? What is that doing?
I believe it's just that one. method.
Broadcast on.
Broadcast on is the only thing that should broadcast requires that you then put in. And broadcast on was actually included when I ran the artisan command to generate the event. It was just there, but the event didn't implement should broadcast. I had to do that. It even had this
You
one.
wouldn't have to do that.
But
The implements, yeah.
it's the implements is also used for like on the Laravel backend side. Whenever you fire the event, it does a instance of check to basically say, hey, is this event that was just fired an instance of should broadcast? And if it is, then we need to do the code necessary to broadcast it to the appropriate broadcaster they set up. If not, then just skip that part onto.
Yeah, that should broadcast goes to the IOC container.
So what would happen if you didn't implement there?
It
I mean,
would
you still have
broadcast.
You still have the method though.
Yeah, it
You just-
doesn't.
The magic code in Laravel wouldn't take this event and broadcast it through to pusher.
The interface is basically the make command. If you write the command manually without the event without using the artisan command, the contract interface is there because one, it says, hey, I need this method to know what channel it's broadcast on, but it's also for the internals to know, hey, this is a broadcastable event. I need to go call the user specified broadcaster and broadcast it.
Yeah. Can we see the console log of the pusher?
Yes.
Let's see.
So I'll refresh. And
You're gonna move that up.
okay. So yeah, pushers, JavaScript from their CDN runs, and then state changed, you got a sent and a received, and then that's where we sent a subscribe message to subscribe to the channel Meetup status, and then subscription succeeded, and no callbacks, and then we could do guarded, and event received
Okay.
with our class, the fully namespaced class, and then the data.
Okay, it's spitting up the whole database record.
So it is, but that was the other thing I was going to mention. Thanks. Is there's a configuration for on the Laravel model side for what fields get serialized by that serializes models trait on the event.
That's the hidden property on the model, right?
It takes everything off the model by default.
Yeah. I think it uses the same. There's a hidden property you can specify, which is just an array of the
I
columns.
think you're right. Yeah.
And it's the same one that toJSON and toArray uses to make sure you don't accidentally go, hey, look, here's your password. Move on to now.
Sorry, yeah, I misunderstood. Yeah, I think you're right. It is hidden, and then you can hide certain fields if they want to be
On the model.
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
model. Like if it's a user model, you'd probably hide a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But on ours, we don't care.
What's spitting out to the console there? Is that a console log you did, or is that from the pusher SDK?
Pusher's doing this. I didn't do anything.
Okay.
Like that's actually part of the library itself, or is that part of the
It's-
of the JavaScript that they
It's
gave you?
if you look at the pusher, like the page or wherever the client side stuff they're showing, it had like a
Yeah, check for window.
it has this pusher.log thing it registers, and like right above it, it has a JavaScript comment that says don't use this in production.
Gotcha.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess if you took that out, everything would be fine. It wouldn't show any of it.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's just debugging info.
Any other questions?
What is the Laravel icon in the right window bottom left?
That is the Laravel debug bar. It's a package that I tend to include with when I'm starting any project. So, hoping,
It has queries in it, like clockwork.
yeah. And so you've got like you can do debug messages while the page is running. It would show up there, kind of like console log. Your timeline of like what everything took to run, how long it took, any exceptions that are run. And it actually, you can see like these were all the requests that we made by Ajax. So it actually kept track of each one of those and included them in a dropdown for us as we went. So you could have, maybe on one of our steps, we screwed up the handler for the Ajax, the set method, and it threw an exception. We could go like down to that one and see there would be an exception listed here just for that one. And there's the queries. And if you use the log mail handler, so instead of sending to SMTP or some other mail service, if you use the log one, your mail shows up in here too.
So is the mail one like, is that the pretend one too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, pretend, not log. That's it. Pretend. Which does log it, but it also shows up in the request there.
I see your composer file.
Yes.
Laravel debug bar.
Debug bar. I also use this guy's IDE helper.
Use that too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you help her?
What is that?
Gives you auto completion for facades.
I'm gonna I'll delete the IDE helper file and then regenerate it to show you the difference. But on my routes file, like route is highlighted by the IDE as, I don't know what the hell this is. It's undefined class route. And if I run PHP artisan IDE helper :generate, it writes an IDE helper file, which I included in my git ignore. I won't even include it in the project or anything, just for myself. But if you come here, PHP Storm reads it in the list over here to the left, which you can't see down there. And now route is here, and if I control click on route, I'm in this IDE helper file directly here, and like it shows me the methods off of it and everything like that. So I can do like route, and because it's in IDE helper, I can see all of the.
Is it Storm specific?
So
I don't think so.
I think IDE helper is pretty generic.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think it was intended for JetBrains, whatever the company is originally, but it supports others as well.
So
What
there's
is Sublime text?
Sublime works with that.
yeah. There's actually two files the plugin can generate. There's the IDE helper, which is what this is using, and it's great. But there's another one that generates this is PHP Storm specific. I'm assuming it is because it's all called .phpstorm.meta, not PHP. But what it does is if you use app make anywhere, the PHP Storm meta file allows you to call like variable equals app make, and then you put in the class name. And when it does that, PHP Storm will immediately know that, okay, that variable is now that type. So there's all the methods
That's pretty
to type it off
fantastic
of.
because that's one thing I hate is when you have multiple implementations of a single interface and you have to build them on the fly. There is no code completion help there. So.
Yeah.
What I thought we were going to talk about is that it can also
The models.
do the models properties as PHP doc blocks in your models automatically off of your database tables, so that you can
Yeah.
arrow from a model instance
That was
and
very
see
helpful
what the
too.
fields are.
We just don't use it much at Perk because we don't use Eloquent for our main.
We use raw.
Main
At
app.
least it's not raw database queries.
Yeah. We use the query builder, but it works.
What was the package name again?
IDE helper is by
Very something.
Very
VDH.
If you look up Laravel IDE helper, it's the first result.
Yeah, and
Google
the same
search
guy
results.
does a debug bar.
Awesome.
Those two I just included every project immediately. Any other questions? Did I go too fast on some of this, or do you guys follow it? Good. I mean, it is pretty simple. Like when I was,
It's easy to
but
It's easy, which is by design, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But it's still very cool. There's always something fun about having two separate windows open and clicking on one window and seeing
then
something
something
else
else happens in the other.
Every time you, like, even if you, like,
Totally.
you do computer science and you understand, like, oh, I get it, because network protocols and blah, 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 and then you still see it happening, you're like, oh boy!
I know.
Every time. Yep.
It's always fun.
It's Christmas.
I do feel the same way. That's why I had to do it this way, you know, for the
Yeah, it's always fun.
demo. But
I've noticed projectors are like the monitor plugins with Linux never seem to go well.
it went fine for the first like.
I know, which doesn't make sense. It's
The
working
whole time
great.
that we were in here just talking, it was like, it was on steady and perfect.
Yeah.
But
I had
Okay.
a friend of mine get screwed over on a grade in a class because like he had like a little netbook that he installed Linux on, like Ubuntu or something. He was working on it, and the code like worked exactly how it was supposed to for the project, but he got docked points because when it came time to present, the netbook just would not, like the cord would be connected, but it just wouldn't display onto the projector. And the professor's just like, he has a very strict, you gotta test your presentation before you come and give it. Because if you don't, then, because you don't get a second, because he comes from real world like software like team lead, so he's like, you don't get a second chance when you go present a project to a client. If your presentation doesn't work, they don't say, oh, just come back later, you're just done. So he was just like, God damn it.
can't argue with that one.
Yeah, I
I'm
can't.
gonna say he's a jerk, but otherwise, no, you can't really argue with that.
No.
It's a lesson that needs to be learned.
Oh yeah, because he like he came by, like my friend went by his office later and showed him, and he was like, that sucks. Like the professor was just like, there's nothing I can do. I gotta be fair. And he's just like, it works great, but I gotta be fair. It's like, God damn it.
Has anybody played around with Firebase in regards to Laravel integrations?
Yeah, it looks expensive, right?
Not with Laravel, but I've
they
done
got
with like Angular
Google platform
and stuff.
I think, I don't know. I remember looking at Firebase a while back when it kind of started getting talked about on Twitter and things like that. I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I just never got around to play with it.
I just could never find anybody talking about it that didn't seem like they were getting paid to write an article about it.
Mhm.
I've used it for a couple of little things just from the
Yeah, Google did acquire Fire.
yeah,
from
right
Firebase.
before that happened.
I don't know how I feel about parse. Is like nobody actually uses it, or nobody promotes it unless they are being paid to promote it.
Yeah.
Nothing else though, their front end hosting was delightful. Just git push for all the front end code.
When you're being paid to parse, you still don't like it. My friend works there and doesn't ever say anything to me about it. Because I built my own backend.
You really want to. I don't know if anybody else uses it, but you
Really?
use parse for. Well, it's a
We
Mongo
used it
backend, and you have to write your own cloud code in Node, but there's no way to test locally.
Mm.
And since it's all Mongo backend stuff, you can't do relations the same way. And of course, if you can't count anything more than 1,000. I mean, you cannot count more than 1,000 records at a time
Mm.
because NoSQL, you just can't do that. You can't. It's not guaranteed integrity. So.
Eventual.
So it's literally intended for like a single person developer developing an app they want to release to the world. And that's really it. You can't do anything.
I see. That's the use case.
Yeah.
We only used it for configs. We literally used it for configs, so someone other than developers can go in and kind of just click something.
Yeah.
For what, Pusher or Node or
Parse.
Parse, yeah.
Interesting. I think we use, doesn't Parse have the ability to do like mobile app push notifications?
Yeah.
We used
Try to
it
do all of the above.
at a company Terry and I worked at before, Perk. We were using Pusher for that just because it was a lot easier than trying to figure out how to set your own push notification server. But
Now you can just use like AWS's library and does push notifications, SMS, email, and any other type of push you can think of on one SDK. It's like, okay, let's do that.
that's handy.
You get a free million, you get a million free ones a month, so I'm just like, okay, we'll do that. Let's do that.
A million sounds great.
Yeah,
And
and
make it a billion.
yeah, not only is it a million, but it's 50 cents for every million after that.
Okay, that's super cheap.
Okay.
Oh no! My pocketbook. What
I'm
have
going
you
broke
done?
now.
Dear God. I didn't even know
You ever
AWS
run
had
into
that.
scaling issues with AWS? I know it sounds stupid.
I haven't. I mean, any app that I've built, the largest app I've ever had, I had like 10,000 people on it one day. And no problem at all.
They actually have bandwidth caps between the instances, and I've been in a situation where we hit those caps pretty hard, so you have to make them larger just to make them bigger, the pipes between them, and then we eventually went there.
Yeah, I definitely got notifications that day that we were approaching a limit, but it never got to the point where it hit a hard cap.
Oh, push notifications. Always fun. And annoying if you send too many of them out. Or developing for it either. My favorite thing recently is my mom installed some more companies' apps, and like a week or two later, she was just like, you gotta show me how to turn off notifications. For apps, there's just too many of them. I installed too many of them, and they all send notifications at the same time. I just can't. I'm like, I'll show you. I work there. I turned them off. It's like, I work here. I don't give a shit. They work. Yay. Wait till they'll stop working because the servers will start bitching, and then we gotta go fix them.
How long have you guys been doing this?
The meetup or
Yeah.
you'll be able to stuff better.
Geez, when was the first meetup?
Okay, it's a long time.
2.5 years ago.
Something like that.
And then, when did I start this on? It was September of 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's actually been almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
I think it was November 2012. Yeah.
It's a lot of Laravel people, or is it generally around this size?
It changes.
It changes a lot. And we have about 11 people RSVP, and then this many showed up. And then sometimes we'll have like 15, and we'll be close to 20. It just,
Yeah, like when they actually had the Skype interview with Taylor, we had what, 25 people, 30 people show up?
Yeah.
I don't show up for that one. Yeah, it's quite a bit.
yeah, everyone showed up to that one.
So the very first meetup was by 25 people, and that was in a small little conference room in my old job. And then we couldn't fit everybody, so the next meetup it went down pretty drastically.
I'm kind of not surprised that this meetup was kind of smaller too, it's just because I'm sure a lot of people that usually come don't have kids and all that, and summer break's about to end, so they're about to go start going back to school.
Yeah, a lot of people are out of town right now too. You know.
Yeah, just finishing vacations for the same reasons, so.
School year starts. Yeah.
Or a lot of people are like, the sun's still out, you know, at 8 o'clock at night. I want to go run or whatever
Or
else.
something.
I'm like, what is this wanting to enjoy the sun thing?
To blast those inbox a bit more, I think, because
Yeah, I kind of forgot last meetup.
Yeah.
A lot of people showed up, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I should send an email, and I sent the email, and then I came out. I plan on getting better about sending tweets and Facebook posts.
Yeah, I totally forget about Twitter.
Yeah.
my meetup stuff is all, squashed. The notifications are squashed, and so if someone doesn't hit me up on Facebook about it or whatever,
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't know.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I heard the Facebook, and I thought about it, and then I just never got around to it. Same thing with Twitter, and then I got reminded again about Facebook when Ransom posted asking who else going to Laracon. I was like, I should post something in the group, and then I forgot about it. Yeah, I need to just rip that band-aid off and set a buffer or something so I can just type it up once and go, blast it everything, go! Laziness, go!
So just two of us going to Laracon? You're going?
Just you and me.
And then
Hunter might go.
What's that?
I have to go to the same company.
How's that do?
one of our coworkers wants to go to ZimCon, so a perk guy might be there. He'll be the only one.
When is Zinc on?
October. It's like 19th to the 22nd, Monday to Thursday.
But I heard tickets are $1,000 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Or right now it ends on the 24th, it shoots up to like 11 something.
Where is that one?
Las Vegas at the Hard Rock Cafe.
We just moved from.
That sounds like a mess.
I moved from it, time to go back.
I lived there for 3 years before Austin.
Yeah, I lived in Hawaii for like 5 years, moved to Vegas for a year, and then just decided to come out here again. I lived here like 10 years ago, but it's pretty different now.
Changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
Just between like when I got here for school in 2010 to now, it feels like it's changed, and the amount of people's gone up exponentially. I'm just like, yay, driving's great. Love this experience. Yeah, probably.
Like 2012 is when like the massive influxes started in all of Texas, really. Like people finally decided, I can't live in California anymore, it's too expensive.
It's not that hot in Texas.
Yeah.
It's just like, I can't stand the always 60 something degrees. Let's go to Texas. Why is it always 90?
It's more like I can't afford it anymore.
That too. My neighborhood suddenly got Google-fied and everything costs $30,000. I've got to go now.
Vegas prices were insane. We moved there, and my father-in-law was like, "Well, you got to buy a house. Like, even if it's really expensive, like you have to buy it because real estate always goes up." It was supposed to be 2006.
Not true.
That is
Housing probably not
I've
true.
heard that wrong.
And this was in 2006, and Vegas was so hard hit in 2008, and we didn't buy in 2006, thankfully. And because I was just like, I can't do it. I cannot spend $250,000 on a like 2-bedroom condo. I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And I was right because it crashed.
Your dad would have been a great banker right before the housing bubble
Yeah.
collapsed. It's fine, bye. Uh-oh.
It is an excellent rental market.
Yeah, like Airbnb or HomeAway, anything like that.
Yeah.
I got somebody in line in 2 weeks. So
I'm looking to buy a house soon, so I'm just like, oh boy, this
Pretty
is
rough right now.
fun to think about. Got money saved up for a down payment. Wasn't how I wanted to save the money, but I've got it now.
So apparently you need to commit to a house in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You want this
Yeah.
house? Go.
So California's coming in. Like,
That's right.
You want to give me?
You want to drop $200,000? Sure. Right now.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm going to start saving money. I haven't started yet. Then I got forced into that because 2 weeks ago, I'm driving into work right off of 35 and 11th, and I'm going through the green light. Suddenly, City of Austin guy's like, I've got the green light too! Wham! Right in the intersection. Car's just totaled immediately. They're like, here's a lot of money for your car. Have fun getting a new one. So I'm like, well,
just get a junker and use that for down payment.
I want to leasing a car for $0 down. So I'm like, hey, here's half the down payment for my house. Yay.
Terry, how was Laracon? You went to Amsterdam, right?
Oh, no, New York last year.
Oh, okay. I thought you went to Amsterdam. Okay.
Oh, no.
How was it?
I was good. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, that like the sessions themselves are, okay. I mean, last year was all about the command bus. That was like 4 out of the whatever talks were about the command bus stuff. But what I enjoyed was just talking to people,
Mhm.
because they would do lunch, like everybody would just be around tables and stuff, and that was cool.
How many people were there?
A couple hundred. Anyway, there were a couple of people like Sean McCool and Eric Barnes, a couple of people that I had kind of known from the previous Laracon. And so seeing them again, but it was also New York, so it was nice, so touristy. Like I have no desire to go to Louisville.
I'm in Louisville. What do I do?
Drink mint juleps.
Yeah.
Actually, the sessions this year look a little bit cooler than they were, because last year was, the past 2 years, it's been pretty much all just specifically Laravel. And this year it seems like they've broadened quite a bit. So.
It's like there's almost no sessions about Laravel at Laracon this year.
There is one that explicitly has Laravel limit in it. And it's on the second day, and it's services and limit in Laravel. As someone I don't know. Name doesn't ring a bell. I'm like, there's one. Right there.
Well, Jeffrey White was talking about.
I had two. Okay, two. Jeffrey Wade, no duh. And then other person, I don't know.
I know they said like we want to kind of move away and like have sessions about like, general knowledge of
Yeah.
programming and all this stuff. I do feel like they may have gone a little far with that. I mean, there's no Laravel at Lyric.
At the same time, too, you got. I was like, okay, as soon as anything new comes out about Laravel, like Jeff has a video on. So
Exactly.
that's really difficult to find something that nobody knows about.
Like, really makes doing these meetups really hard when Terry, like, shit, we have no one to give a talk to.
Yeah, just play the lyric after.
Yeah, it's like, let's talk about this. And then, like, the week before the meetup, Wade just comes out with a video, I'm like, God damn it. Just trash this PowerPoint and just hit the play button on the Larrycast and shut up, kids, watch the TV.
Which is why he's probably why he's going on to all these JavaScript casts now, because he has to find something to do every day.
Yep. Yep.
It's kind of difficult to find people that have experience in message queues, so I think we should definitely focus on things like that.
Message queues that came up around work too.
What platform?
Any of them. I'm using ActiveMQ right now. Bane of my motherfucking existence.
I'm using SQS for AWS.
SQS is fine. I'm not allowed to use that. It was Beanstalk, but that was single instance, single point of failure type of thing. So I had to do an HA setup with ActiveMQ. We're actually gonna, unfortunately, change that to Oracle Service Bus. Kind of defeats the purpose, but.
You sound really excited about it.
Iron has like tripled their costs, I think, over the
Iron
past
MQ.
year.
Yeah.
They still have a pretty decent free one if you don't use it too much.
Right, yeah. Any enterprise. Crazy.
What were we looking at? We're looking at like a few message queues.
They're looking at RabbitMQ.
Okay.
Beanstalk is like the easiest one.
Yeah, Beanstalk is overused.
But Iron's got a couple of cool features that the other ones don't have, right? Like Iron's got synchronous.
Yeah, Iron's the one that has
And push.
Yeah, push queues.
Yeah, push. Which SQS can't do.
You could do that with Redis though.
I know AWS has for just like cube jobs, you can delay like every other. I know those guys read Laravel docs, and like for Beanstalk, if you want to delay a job for a year, you can just be like, fuck it, go on there, sit there for a year, I don't care. Well, the server stays up in it. But for AWS, it's like, yeah, the max you can delay is 15 minutes. Like, why? Like, why 15 minutes?
But on Beanstalk, if your job wanted to run for a year, it wouldn't happen.
Nope.
Fix that
Oh, thank God.
So SQS went down the other night. Like SQS literally just went down Sunday night, I think. And I got 15,000 emails in 2 hours. Like, they were automated, like,
Oh, okay. System emails.
yeah,
job
just so
failed.
many connections, looking for a connection to SQS.
I can only imagine rolling over, looking at my phone, what's on my screen, waking it up and seeing the mail icon, 15,000 or just 1500 ... He's going, nope, walk. That looks like a problem for later, Hunter.
It was a lot like that. I mean, it was between midnight and 2 a.m. And so,
Nope, that's.
but I noticed it before I went to sleep at like 12:30, and I was like refreshing Amazon's forums, going like, "What's going on? Like, is this my problem or is this their problem? If it's their problem, they're probably going to fix it pretty soon."
Yeah. Just imagine the Amazon guy, and they're like, oh, time to go. Shit. Time to go fix that.
Being like a DevOps guy for AWS is gonna be like it's gonna be like the worst job in the world because they handle like half the internet now.
Yeah.
So
Well, they got like 3 shifts, right?
I saw.
They gotta be working right.
Yeah.
oh, absolutely. That's all the location protocol too.
I saw a picture of like an old German sublet control thing, really, really old, and it was just this wall of like 100 different wheels and knobs. Not labeled, just wheels and knobs. You're like, just turning shit. I'm just imagining that's the AWS guy. Just keep S3 up and just go.
Well, actually, half of them work remotely from home or something. They're just there on like a MacBook Air, and I'm just like, okay.
They just sit on a MacBook Air.
It's like not ever what you would think.
Just their boxers.
I like to imagine like 1950s, those women who had switchboard operators. That's how the internet works.
I saw something a few years ago.
Yep.
I saw something a few years ago. Google went down for like 5 minutes, and when it did, it took like 40% of the internet with it.
Oh.
Going down, I'm like,
Absolutely.
wow, that is impressive. I want to see somebody top that.
Which one was that?
Google went down.
Like the search page.
Well, remember when Facebook had the JavaScript error and took down everybody's websites?
Oops.
Oh yeah, the social plugin where it's just
Yeah.
like liking stuff on websites.
Yeah, but it would kill everybody's website for several hours. Like half the internet went down because they had Facebook
I think
JavaScript.
I'm pretty sure that one wasn't infinite loop that was running. It was just
Oh, okay.
as soon as you went to a website that had it, it's just your browser just fried.
I was like, I quit.
Pat you on the back for that, because another pat you on the back for breaking Facebook itself, broke half the internet.
Yeah. Move fast, break things. Break lots of things.
They changed their motto from what I heard this year at the new FA conference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They changed it to something, I just can't remember, but it's less move fast, break things, to more, okay, let's probably keep this working.
Well, they're gonna have to because of all the random stuff they're putting out lately is just solving their own problems that nobody else has.
No one knows gonna utilize it.
And like React, truthfully, who really needs that big of a difference that React supposedly makes? Like,
I like React.
I mean, if you like the use of it, great. But the reason that it's faster on rendering, I mean, like Google, or a couple of guys who work at Google actually tested it out, and they're like, it's like microseconds difference.
Yeah.
There's one that's like twice as fast now too. JS blocks.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. But the thing that gets me is, I don't know if anybody else has heard about Relay, but that's their new thing for Facebook is that basically the UI dictates what the RESTful resources will look like. I like the structure of them. So basically, if you're working on, say, you have a list of your friends, the Relay framework that they created will actually say, okay, I want the user's avatar, I want their name, I want their latest tweet from F to G from last night, and it'll send up specifically that to a single endpoint, and you're just requesting exactly the resources you want, and you, the developer, never say, when this resource comes back or whatever, you just say, okay, this here, and they handle all the rest for you. And I'm just like, all of that requesting from a single endpoint, that'd be a nightmare to code on the back end. But
So basically, instead of doing the like 7 different API calls you do individually, you're just calling one and it's doing it for you.
yes.
It sounds like they're doing exactly what Netflix does now, just with a different name, because Netflix has what they call the orchestration layer. They have like their Netflix, they have the Netflix API, but since the different, like Xbox needs to work in a different way, PlayStation needs to work in a different way, the fucking like wireless enabled TVs have their own way, et cetera, instead of trying to make the API work with all of them at once, they just have the API and then the orchestration layer makes it work for all of them. It's just kind of in reverse. You just go, hey, I'm an Xbox, I need this shit. And you go, okay.
I know. I mean, it's a cool concept, but at the same time, it's just like, how many people actually need that? It sounds like maybe Facebook and a few of these other enormous companies, but
Yeah, it sounds like
Netflix and Facebook. 99.9% of the web, no.
And it's like Netflix and Facebook need it, and that's it. No one else needs it. Twitter just has their own APIs, and they're okay. And Google just doesn't care.
They say have half the bandwidth in the world. So.
Yeah, they're just like, we are the bandwidth, so who cares? We'll just shove it over down the pipe we want. And then I saw a Java guy complaining today about how RESTful's bad and you should feel bad, and why use JSON, it's only human readable, that's the only benefit, you should just use something like more binary to get the best data corrections. I'm like, it's not the 90s, we're not working on, I don't know, it's just like, it's not the 90s, we're not on freaking dial-up anymore, we can afford to spend the extra couple of bytes to send it in JSON.
Yeah.
It doesn't have structure. Like, go back to water and soap. God, stop complaining.
I'm intrigued actually about how things are going to change now that HTTP 2 is available, so you can make multiple requests at once and it comes back in binary. I'm just, how is RESTful going to change then, or is it?
Yeah. My thought process on that is like, oh boy, how bad is this going to break?
Yeah.
How many fires will this cause? Better get the marshmallows. I want to play with it, but it's like, hey Apache, you got anything ready for that? We'll get back to you eventually. Thanks.
Nginx sort of.
Nginx, I just saw like a tweet. It's like, here's a screenshot of what to run for this to get build things nice with HTTP 2, like early support. I'm like, that's cool. Actually, you awake? Nope. Okay.
It's just going back to saying, like, the only person who could seriously advocate binary data back from a web service is never debugged through like the browsers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, tell me debug this, but I run this
Console.
through binary to whatever.
I know.
It's like, yeah, that sounds great. Some mobile, like, some mobile devs can't even get the JSON crap right. Do we expect them to get the binary stuff right? That's gonna be horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. Well, Eric, thank you for presenting on the event stuff.
Thank you. That's cool.
Thank you everybody for showing up.